hand going. I want to hear everybody screaming right now. All right, man. Thanks for coming out, man. Make some noise, man. I like Yeah, man. I delayed the show because my favorite soccer team is playing right now, and we won 1-0. Also, somebody's like, "Hey, how come you didn't dress up for your album recording?" And I was like, "People don't know that this shirt costs $130." I was late on 2 card payments to buy this fucking shirt. My credit score dropped down 200 points to buy this shirt. I had to pick up extra shifts just to buy this shirt. People don't know, man. All right, man. Let me start with a story real quick. Not too long ago, I went to the barbershop to get a haircut, right? It's pretty full, so I had to wait by the door my turn to get a haircut. And across the corner, I noticed this dude just kept looking at me, right? He just kept staring at me. I'm like, damn, what the fuck this dude want, right? He just kept looking at me. He finally came up to me, and this is what he said. He said, "Hey, man, where do I know you from?" Right? I never seen dude in my life. So that's what I told him, right? I was like, "I don't think we know each other, dude. I don't think we've ever met." But he kept staring at me, right? He kept staring at me, and eventually he said, "You look like that guy that got killed on my block last summer, right?" That's not all. This is what he said next, right? And he was like, "But that's not you, though, right?" I didn't say shit because like, dude was crazy, right? Like, dude was crazy, he's probably on drugs, he might harm me, I'm not gonna say shit, right? He kept staring at me though, he kept looking at me up and down, and then he finally said, "Nah, that's not you," right? And then he left the barbershop, right? Which, I want to make 3 points about this story real quick, right? 3 things I want to bring up about this story, right? Point number 1. What if that was me, right? Are we that cool with ghosts nowadays? That we just walk up to them and talk to them as if they were normal people, right? I'm still afraid of ghosts, man. I didn't get that memo, man. Point number 2. Growing up, I saw like a lot of movies where the plot of a certain movie or the plot of a certain TV show was that a ghost would get like 24 hours to come back to Earth, right their wrongs, finish some unfinished business or whatever, right? I can't picture any of them ghosts going like, "Man, I can't wait to see my family, but let me stop and get this haircut real quick." I can't hug my wife and kids with this fucked up ass lining I got. And point number 3, right? I Googled the guy he was talking about, and I did look like him. He's like a long lost cousin or some shit. Rest in peace, man. Rest in peace. Grew up around Reese Park. Anybody else? Some gangs in the neighborhood I grew up with, right? Some gangs out there. If you don't know what gangs are, they're basically like a after-school club of teenagers that murder people for no reason. So it happened to me one night around there. I was waiting for the bus. It was like 1 a.m. I was the only one at the bus stop. It was a Friday night. And this car full of gangbangers pulls up next to me, right? Start yelling shit at gangbangers. Yeah, I don't know if you guys know what it sounds like, but like, these guys, they don't speak that well, right? Like, a lot of them didn't finish high school and shit. So, they don't ask you, like, what gang are you in? They don't say it that way, right? Like, they say, what you is. Right? That's what it is, right? So they started yelling at me, like, hey, man, like, what you is, man? Like, a couple guys in the front of the car, a couple guys in the back, like, what you is, man? What you is, right? And I was like, dudes, I don't gangbang, leave me alone. I don't gangbang, leave me alone, right? And to my surprise, they did start leaving. But as they were leaving, one of the guys from inside the car just kept yelling like, all right, fool, we leaving, but remember my face, though. Remember my face, right? He just kept doing this shit, right? Like, remember my face, right? Until this day, I'm still like, remember my face. What purpose would it serve for me to remember this guy's face? Right? Like, am I going to regret not remembering his face? Am I gonna be on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire one day? And they're gonna be like, for the $1 million. Which of these 4 faces did you encounter on the bus stop that night? And I'll be like, oh man, I wish I would have remembered that I'm already asking the audience, like, which one looks more like a gangbanger, right? Using the lifelines, the ones they give you in the show, like phoning a friend. Like, hey, dog, who do you recognize from the neighborhood? I gotta win this shit, right? But it's not only that, man. It's not only that, right? Like, I went home that night, and I got to thinking, like, who yells this at people? Like, what kind of guy yells at random strangers to remember his face, right? Like, is it just some dude crying and moping at nights, just like in his room, like, no one ever remembers my face. I robbed a lady once. The police picked me up. They put me on a lineup. And she picked the wrong guy. Right? She didn't even remember that. So I someone to remember his face. So I did this joke at a show recently, and this Irish guy, like from Ireland, like a real Irish dude with an accent and everything, right? Like, not like fake Irish people here that just wear like green on St. Patrick's Day, right? Like, not like those people, right? Like, he came up to me and started talking to me. Now, I'm not good at doing accents just because I have my own accent, right? But I'm gonna try for you guys, do this Irish accent, right? He came up to me, he was like, hey man. You know, we have gangs in Ireland too. You guys have gangs in Ireland too? He's like, yeah. Well, over there. Yeah. They don't ask you what you is. It's just Catholics fight Protestants all the time. And then he left, right? I started thinking, like, if they don't ask you what you is, then how do, like, the gangs identify themselves, right? Like, how do they know who's on whose gang? Just some dude walking up to somebody else like, hey man, what do you think of the Virgin Mary, huh? What do you think of the Virgin Mary? Like, oh, it wasn't an immaculate conception? Boom! House shot, right? You see dudes getting stomped, like, why you beating him up? Like, dude said purgatory wasn't real. Plus, I saw him on Twitter with hashtag not my pope and shit. Gangbangers add a lot to the murder. Chicago's a murder capital, right? And this is an interesting thing for me though, that like most murders happen on the weekends, right? And like that's interesting because I could imagine like just like a murder like on a Wednesday night, like I would kill this motherfucker tonight, man. But I got an 8 a.m. shift tomorrow morning, right? The boss hates it when I call in late from jail, right? that's the Chicago murder capital. Chicago is known for crime, but people keep moving in. People are moving in all the time in Chicago, and that's why I'm having like a hard time feeling sorry for people that move in and get robbed, right? Because that sounded mean. Let me rephrase that. Most people that get robbed, right? Like, it's not their fault. I feel sorry for them. But some people, because you know the neighborhoods, you tell them like, hey man, I wouldn't go in that neighborhood past a certain hour, or you might get robbed. And they go in that neighborhood past that certain hour, and they end up getting robbed. And I'm just like, that's kind of your fault, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not feeling sorry for you, man. Like, I'm not writing, are you okay on your Facebook post? Right? I'm not donating to your GoFundMe, man. Matter of fact, next time I see you, I might try to rob you myself. Right? Now I know you're stupid. Can't follow directions, right? Plus now you have all that GoFundMe money, right? I got bills to pay, man. It's like that old JG one for a commercial, right? Like, it's your money, but I need it now. I'm not a thief. Also, comedy tip when you comedians in the audience don't know how to end a joke, and they're in the commercial, right? But yeah, man, people moving in, a lot of the traditional Latino neighborhoods are getting whiter, right? We got like Logan Square, like the white neighborhood now. Pilsen on the south side, Mexican neighborhoods getting whiter, right? Humboldt Park, Puerto Rican neighborhood is actually getting so white. I heard they want to take down the 2 flights on Division Street and replace them with a big banner of Kurt Cobain instead, right? Another one that says mayonnaise is too spicy or something like that. There's one neighborhood on the south side, little village, La Villita, Mexican neighborhood, where I still don't see it that gentrified yet, and I think I know why though. Like, I think I know why people don't want to move in there, and it's because there's a jail in the middle of that fucking area, right? Like, white people don't want to live by no jail, right? They be releasing prisoners all day, right? Like, white people don't want to be jogging or having their yoga studios where they be releasing prisoners at, right? Like, the reason it works for Mexican people is because half these motherfuckers they're releasing are Mexicans that live in that neighborhood anyway, right? It used to be that back in the days, when you got released from that jail, they used to give you a bus pass in case you didn't have a ride to get home, right? And they don't do that anymore. And I like to think that one of the reasons they don't do that is because half these motherfuckers live within walking distance anyway, right? You're not gonna give Julio a bus pass, man. Julio can see his house from jail. When Julio's out in the yard in jail, he can see his mom getting home from work. He even yells at her like, "Hey, ma, don't forget to DVR The Walking Dead, eh? I'll be home." I should tell Julio that show's on Netflix now, right? I'll tell you something I like about jail. I don't like that, I don't like when someone does like 10 years in jail and then they come out, everyone is like, bro, you hard, bro. Like, you hard. I wouldn't be able to do that shit, right? You hard. You did 10 years? I wouldn't be able to do that shit, right? And the dude takes a compliment. He'll be like, yeah, I'm hard, right? Like, this is my thing about that though. My thing is like, being hard has nothing to do with how long you're in jail, right? Like once you are in front of the judge and the judge says, man, you're doing 10 years, you can't be like, hey judge, I'm not hard, can I just do 2, right? And the judge is like, oh shit, you should have mentioned that from the beginning. Just do a year and a half and your debt to society will be repaid. Right? Buy me some breakfast when you get out. But my biggest pet peeve about jail is teenagers that go to jail because, I don't know if you ever met teenagers go to jail, but like when I was in high school, my best friend was like getting out of jail, and teenagers that go to jail I don't like because that's all they talk about, right? Like once they go to jail, that's all they talk about. They're like the vegans of the hood, right? Like, they be setting you up too, right? Like they'll be like, hey Oscar, like what you do last night, man? I'll be like, me? Like, oh, I actually caught the game on TV. Like, what you do? Like, you know me, man. Just thanking God that I'm not in jail anymore. So you know that I'm in jail, right? I was like, yeah, dude, we've only known each other for 10 minutes and you already told me twice, right? Plus, I'm your parole officer. That's why you're here. Right? I'll pee in this cup, right? Like, what's worse though is when you get two teenagers that have been to jail in the same room, because they just try to out-jail each other, right? They just look at each other like, man, like, how long were you in jail? Like, I was in there for a year and 10 months. Like, the other one's like, that's nothing, man. I was in there for a year and 11 months, man. Matter of fact, the first year and 10 months are easy. It's that last month that really makes you mad. That's why I like teenagers went to jail, man, because they always gotta tell you about it, man. So I was also a teenager that went to jail, and I gotta tell you guys about it, right? When I was 18, I ended up in Cook County Jail, right? I was only in there for less than a day, so it's not like a big deal, right? That's that jail that Julio can take his house from, by the way. But this is the thing, I was only in there for a day, but when I was in there, I did not know how long I was gonna be there. Like I thought I could be there months and shit, and I'm not gang affiliated. The only thing I know about jail is what I see in the movies, right? So obviously my first thought's like, I'm gonna get raped, right? Like, there is no way that I'm not getting raped, right? The vanity, right? Like I'm that desirable. But after like 5 minutes of feeling down about it, I'm just like, man, fuck it, man. It is what it is. I get my shit pushed in. That's training day, by the way. Somebody comes up to me and tells me I want some chon chon, right? That's blood in, blood out, right? All I know about jails and movies, like I said, right? So I started looking around, and I'm just like, I'm gonna look around for the most powerful one, and people were like, oh, you gotta find the most powerful one, and go and hit him and fight him, right? But I went and looked for the most powerful one, and I was like, I'm gonna go flirt with him, right? Like, at least if I'm gonna be somebody's bitch, I'm gonna be that guy's bitch, right? Not some low-level thug's bitch, man. I'm trying to get some perk off of this shit, right? I'm trying to get some hooch. That's what they call the alcohol they made there that day, right? But then they released me real quick without anything happening, right? And now when I look back at it, I realize, like, that was not going to be rape. That was going to be some consensual ass sex. Speaking of consensual gay sex, right? I was reading this article where pizza store owner in Indiana, right? He refuses to sell pizza to gay weddings. Right? As if gay people want pizza for their wedding, right? But it's legal to do that in Indiana because our vice president, right? And they just randomly interviewed this guy, and they're like, why don't you want to sell pizzas to gay people, right? And this is what he said. He said, not selling pizzas to them is my choice. just like they chose that lifestyle. I chose to be heterosexual. They chose to be homosexual, right? End of quote, right? And I'm always like, first off, if you're choosing to be straight, you're most likely gay. Do you get what I'm saying? That's not how this shit works, right? I'm super attracted to women. I don't remember making that choice, right? I'm one of those people that believes that if this was a choice, man, I would have chosen to be gay, man. Like, you know how much fun gay guys have? Like, most nights I tell jokes like at empty bars and drink PBRs, right? Like, that's what I do for fun, right? Like, instead, like, I could be like at a nice club at like Boys Town, sipping on martini, getting my dick sucked by a stranger. That's not happening for me tonight at Cards Against Humanity Theater. I would say one of you could change that, but for the most part, you guys are not strangers, and a lot of you guys are my family, so yeah. I feel like I'm a pretty progressive person, but I don't consider myself woke, right? And it's just because like the young college generation, like they have like a lot of like new terms and new words that I never heard of, right? And like, for example, there's a true story. I just recently learned what the word melanin means, right? True story, right? And in case you don't know what it means, that's fine because I just learned too, right? I mean, you guys think like you guys know what it means. You guys think like a smart audience, but I gotta practice saying it for dumb audiences, right? So basically, the word melanin is the thing that gives you your skin color, right? Like pigment. The more melanin you have, the darker you are, right? And the thing about the word melanin is that melanin is an object, it's a thing, it's the subject in a sentence, right? The problem is that the young Mexicans that I hang around with, they use it as an adjective, right? Like, they don't say, we have more melanin than white people, which would be the correct way. They say, bro, we melanin, right? This is the way they talk, right? Now this confused me because the first time I heard it, I thought it was a verb, right? Because he's like, we melanin or what, right? In Mexico with my friends, we do this thing where we go pick out mangoes from the trees where they grow, right? Whole activity, super fun, no real word for it in English. So this is the kind of stuff I thought he was talking about, right? I was like, melanin? Like, dude, I don't even like melon. Right? Let me know when you guys go mangoing. Right? I'll join you then, right? He's like, nah, bro, melon. Oh, Melanie, yeah, she was around here somewhere, dude. You know her, big pothead, probably outside smoking weed, right? But here's the thing, I think that melanin matters because I'm not comfortable anymore with like light-skinned Mexicans using the word beaner, right? Like maybe they can say beana with an A, right? But beaner with a hard ER at the end, right? That's our word, right? Like, you need a little more melanin in you to be able to say it. I'm playing, man. Let's get Mexicans to do whatever they want. They can do whatever they want because, like beaner is not even that bad of a racial slur. Like, out of all the racial slurs combined, like, it's one of the worst ones, right? Like, it was funny because I saw this video. All right, again. It was funny because I saw this video. It happened actually at Wrigley Field like 6 months ago. It was Latino night at the Cubs Stadium, and it was this group of people in the stands arguing with another group of people. One of those groups of people happened to be Hispanic. So this guy started yelling at them, you know, all the classics like, you know, spig, wetback, beaner, whatever, right? And first off, I'm like, baseball is like the one American sport where Latinos are good at, right? Like, if you're gonna hate Latinos, do that shit at the hockey games, right? Like, there's nobody there, right? And second off, dude was a Cubs fan. Like, dude paid his ticket to watch the Cubs. He's wearing a Cubs jersey, Cubs hat, Cubs gear. Dude was a Cubs fan. Like, how can you be pro-Cubs and anti-Latino, right? Like, how can you be like, man, fuck Hispanics, but let's go Javi Baez, right? Or like, fuck Hispanics, but Sammy Sosa was my childhood hero, right? And I know Sammy Sosa's white now. Right? He used to be Dominican. Remember the 90s, right? And he got that Michael Jackson surgery. I don't know what it is. I'm gonna check that out. But there's the thing about the word beaner, though, man. Every time I hear it, like people say people beaner, like people calling other people beaner, I'm just in my head, I'm just like, beans are delicious. Like, beans are so good that a lot of cultures eat beans. I don't know why we get stuck with that stereotype, right? It'd be like calling a Chinese guy a racist or some shit like that. Right? Like, everyone eats rice. Well, they get that stereotype, though, man. So, like, outside of, like, Mexican food, like, pizza is my favorite food, and I just can't imagine trying to insult, like, an Italian guy using, like, good food like pizza, right? Like, how would that sound like if I just got the Italian guy in front of me, just be like, you fucking pepperoni ass, sausage ass, pizza ass bitch, right? You fucking delicious meat lover of a man. If you the Italian guy, you get hungry before you get offended, right? You didn't even invite dude insulting y'all to lunch, right? Like, come on, dude, I'll get you a slice, right? The only real insult using the word pizza is if you call someone a pineapple pizza, right? Everyone knows that pineapple isn't going pizza, right? That's my least popular punchline, but I always do it because people need to hear the truth. Pizza's already good. Keep trying to put fruit in that shit, man. I'll tell you something, man. Maybe I do need to eat more fruit because I just recently learned that I qualify as fat. News to me because growing up I was always skinny, so hearing that I'm fat, that was like traumatizing for me, right? And then the problem was that I found out like in a super embarrassing way, like I found out in front of hundreds of people, right? And first thing I did, I went and told my friends, like, dude, did you guys know I was fat? And my friends were like, yeah, bro, you've been fat for like 2 years. You've been fat for 2 years. I only found out 6 months ago, which means that for a year and a half there, I was walking around with a skinny man's confidence, right? You can't do that shit to fat people, right? Like, I was like clothes weren't fitting, I was blaming the dryer and shit, right? Stupid piece of shit, right? Like, I was like reasoning shit that's scientifically impossible, right? Like, shit, I'm getting a growth spurt in my mid-20s. I was supposed to be done by 18. But I did, man. I did find out in an embarrassing way from hundreds of people. It's a true story how I found out. So, well, 6 months ago, I was in a bull rodeo in Mexico. And I don't know if you guys ever been to a bull rodeo, but basically, in between bulls, they take time while they tie one bull up, take him away, bring the next bull out. So what they do is they'll have like audience participation contests to pass the time, right? So I volunteered for one because I was wasted. I went down there. It was me and this other dude doing this little contest. We ran on some cones and shit. We did the contest. When the contest was over, the announcer did the thing where he goes like, give it up for this guy or give it up for that guy, right? And whoever the audience cheers for the most wins the contest, right? So the announcer pointed at the other guy first, and he went, everyone give it up for the skinny one, right? So at this point, you know, I didn't understand shit, so I just like, I clapped, like I'm trying to show good sportsmanship and shit. Like, nice job, dude, right? Or whatever, right? But But then I began to worry, right? But my worry is different than what you guys are thinking, right? My worry was that the audience was gonna be confused, right? My worry was that the announcer went like, give it up for a skinny guy, now give it up for the other skinny guy, right? The audience was not gonna know which skinny guy was me. And they were gonna vote for one skinny guy, and I was gonna lose this stupid contest to this stupid announcer, right? That was my initial worry, right? But my worry changed real quick, right? Like, dude finally pointed at me, and this true story, I got video evidence of this, and he finally pointed at me and he said, now everyone give it up for the chubby one, right? But I don't know if I was so drunk or so in denial that I was just like, oh, there was a third competitor? I thought it was just me and dude, right? Is the other guy behind me, or what is he keep pointing my way, right? Like, looking and shit, but he was talking about me, right? The audience wasn't confused. They voted for the other guy anyways, right? This is the thing though, the thing is that I've been skinny my whole life, so I don't know how to act fat, right? Like I don't know how to act fat, right? So like, I still be doing like stupid shit that skinny people do, right? Like, for example, I still be taking the stairs instead of the elevator to a second floor, right? Like, I still be trying to play soccer and not be goalie, right? Like, I still be trying to have sex with positions that involve me being on top, right? People can't do that shit, man. Reverse cowgirls all I have nowadays, you know? Last time I tried that shit, I went through 2 inhalers, and I'm not even asthmatic. They were her inhalers, right? Just gotta ask my tech later on when I take it to the hospital. It was the whole thing, right? But this is the thing, I want to learn how to act fat, right? So like, I just like, when I look at fat people, I just like act like them and shit nowadays, right? The other day I was at McDonald's, and this fat guy was in front of me ordering, right? Like, he took like half an hour to order, like, he ordered the whole menu like 3 times, right? Like, and he was done, so I went up, and the lady behind the register was like, what do you want? I'm like, oh, can I get a number 7? And she said, is that it? But the way she said it, she said it like that wasn't it, right? I was just like, let me get with that fat guy before me, right? Like, I don't know what to order. And I can't even lose weight anymore because I got kicked out of the gym, right? Like, I got kicked out of the gym. And I'll tell you why I got kicked out of the gym. I got kicked out of the gym because I like to work out my own way and I hate people giving me advice. That's it, right? Like, that's why I got kicked out. So when I go to the gym, I work out by myself, and I don't like when guys come up to me like, oh, you shouldn't work out, like, you should do this shit, you should do that shit, right? Like, dude, like, I don't want your advice. I like to do things my own way, right? So this one particular day, I was working out by myself. Some random guy gave me some unwanted advice. He just came up to me and he was like, what are you doing? That's not your locker. That's my locker. Why are you stealing my stuff, right? And I was like, hey, dude, let me work out the way I want to work out. Let me do me and shit, right? You do you. Not a lot of the LA Fitness anymore, right? Still good at Planet Fitness. They have yeah, man, but I don't want to just go to Mexico. I also went to Vegas recently. Make some noise if you've been to Vegas before. I went to Vegas and one of my white friends, I think it was Anthony, I'm not sure, went to the city and he was like, man, you're gonna like Vegas, man. If you're gonna like Vegas, like why? Why am I gonna like Vegas? Because you're gonna like Vegas because there's a lot of Mexican people in that part of the country, right? A lot of your people, that part of the country, right? Like, all right, I was excited, but when I actually got to the Las Vegas Strip, the only Mexican people that I saw there were working there, right? Like, like a lot of Asians, a lot of Arabs, a lot of white people, right? Like not like some black people, not that many. A little more in this room, right? But not that many. But literally the only Mexican people that I saw there were working there, man. As a matter of fact, I was shooting dice at the Flamingo, and one of the managers came up to me, and he was like, dude, how long is your break? You've been gambling for an hour, right? And I was like, oh shit. But I'm so dumb that I started cleaning out of her reflex. I started throwing empty cans away. I started vacuuming for some reason. Where did I get the fucking vacuum? Fucking spot won't come off. I put the vacuum away. I clocked out. Chilling with the co-workers in the break room and shit. It's like, what are you doing this weekend? And I was like, oh shit, I think I'm going back to Chicago. Like, oh shit, I don't think I work here. Or do I? It turns out I didn't work there, but I was trying to give the manager the benefit of the doubt though. Like, maybe last night when I was wasted, I filled out an application. You never know, man. What happens there stays there, right? I should have stood there, man. That job had benefits, dude. Like, comedians, we don't even get a volunteer. Right? Yeah, man. I like being a Mexican comedian, though. I'm a real proud Mexican person, and it's not that I think that Mexicans are superior to everyone else, right? I mean, secretly, I believe we're all human beings. But like, I like that. Like, I think like Mexican comedians have like an advantage over other like Hispanic comedians because like a Mexican comedian can come up here and do like a joke like the one I just did, or something about like a lot of Mexicans in one car or some shit, right? And people get them. People get them because there's enough Mexicans in this country where we build our own stereotypes, right? But I feel like if I was a Bolivian comic, for example, I wouldn't be able to do that, right? Like if I was a Bolivian comic, I wouldn't be able to come do a joke and just follow it up with like, you know how we Bolivians do, right? You'd be like, no, dude. Nobody knows what Bolivians do. Nobody's met a Bolivian. Is it even a real country? Did the Illuminati just draw it in the map of South America somewhere, right? Like, nobody knows, man. That where Obama kept his FEMA camps. Like, nobody knows. Since I started doing this joke, I've actually met 2 Bolivians. Real nice people, man. Real nice people. So I'm thinking of changing the joke to Paraguayans, right? Is it even a real country, right? A Paraguayans, bro, I don't even know one Guayan. Underline 2 of them, right? But yeah, I do think like in the last year and a half, I've been doing, like Anthony mentioned, I've been doing this for 5 years. In the last year and a half, I have seen a lot of like new Latino comedians in Chicago, but when I started 5 years ago, it was always like me and somebody else was in the audience and like doing the Northside mics, right? And it was like, he was from Waukegan, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it was like, I felt like I had like a lot of advantages, like as a Hispanic comedian, right? Like one, like I could talk about race and no one would tell me shit, right? 2, like since there was only like very few Latino comedians, I would be like on a lot of shows because like comedy bookers nowadays they want to have like a diverse lineup, right? So it would be like they'll have like 4 or 5 people in the lineup and they'll be like, all right, man, we need like a black person, a lesbian, and a Hispanic dude, right? Like, let's call Oscar. Let's see what he's doing this week. At the time, I was the only one they knew and shit, right? But the third advantage that I have, I think, as a Latino comedian that grew up here in Chicago, I see a lot of comedians that didn't grow up in Chicago, but are doing comedy now in Chicago, who they do jokes like this, right? Like, this is one of the joke they'll be like, my brother does Wall Street, and I do this, right? This is a joke that I heard many times, like, you could replace Wall Street with something else, right? And basically, the point of this joke is that doing comedy is, like, beneath them, or, like, everyone they grew up around with is doing, like, better than them, so doing comedy is, like, rock bottom for them, right? And, like, that's not my situation at all, right? Like, in the neighborhood that I grew up in, like, ain't nobody doing anything, right? Like we're all regular workers, right? Like, that's all we are, man. Like, everyone, like, it was, like, in their late 20s, still living at home with their parents, right? Like, even, like, the married ones are, like, in the basement of one of the parents' crib, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, ain't nobody doing shit, man. Like, I do comedy, like, I do Uber. People think there's money in Uber for some reason, right? Like, I'm like a minor celebrity with the people that I grew up with, right? Like, I got, like, groupie girls that rejected me in high school, like, messaging me nowadays and calling me, like, hey, Oscar, how you been, right? And I'm just like, girl, I do Grubhub too, right? Stunning, right? Do Uber, you guys fuck with Uber? You guys fuck with Uber, man. I always tell people, man, don't drink and drive. Let me do the drinking and driving for you. Right? Much more efficient if there's only one drunk driver on the road, right? There's a thing though, like, the Uber is like every now and then, like, stories pop up like on Facebook and shit, where, like, a couple years ago, like, some passengers stabbed the driver to death, and when one of these stories comes up, like, my friends will send them to me, like, hey, did you see the story, man? Be careful though. It's just dangerous, right? And I always tell them the same thing, like, we know what we got into when we got in this shit, right? It's the Uber life, man. You live by the Uber, you die by the Uber, man. It's that Uber life, right? Where most of us won't make it past 21. 100 trips, right? 2,100 trips, right? It's that Uber life, right? When you walk into my car, have the decency not to spill your drink. Because I make look kind of innocent, but I'm more dangerous than you think. I'm rapping, that's what's going on, people, right? I'm a daily robbery attempt survivor. Still doing it consistently. Being a 5-star rated driver, right? Out here hustling to make ends meet. And don't worry, I won't go past your street. Just to get you from point A to point B, I'm the best at it. That's why I got Uber Life in my chest tag. Got my demo tape after the show, right? In case comedy don't work out, back my career in rapping. Let's talk about some dirty stuff. Who watches porn? Make some of you watch porn. People very excited on this side to watch porn. All right, man. I'm not gonna get into it too much, but I will say this. I don't like the ads, right? The ads are powerful, and I'm too cheap to pay for it, so I gotta keep watching these ads. There was one particular ad that I saw the other day. It was like, so I clicked on the video, right? And the ad popped up, and it was like an older lady holding like a pill, and that's what it said on the ad. It was like, take this pill, and you can fuck for 3 hours without coming, right? Like, my husband takes this pill, and he fucks me for 3 hours without coming, right? It was called a 3-hour pill, and I don't know about you guys, but fucking for 3 hours without coming, right? Like, that's not pleasure, right? That's torture, man. That's worse than what we're doing to them guys at Guantanamo Bay, right? Just imagine doing this. 3 hours. And nothing, right? Like, I'll take a waterboarding instead of that shit. Give me like a 7-minute pill, right? 11 minutes max. That's all you need, right? Matter of fact, just give me a pill where I last long enough that I don't feel the need to apologize. Right? Call it the no apology pill. Guys watch porn, right? Everybody watches porn nowadays, right? But guys like to look at girls' asses, right? Like that's something guys do. It's in our nature, I think. But I'm gonna tell you a story of how this can go wrong, though, right? Like once when I was like 18, we're cruising around, you know, with my friends and shit in the car, drinking, smoking weed. We used to do back then, right? I was sitting next to this guy called Eddie, right? And we stopped at a light, and there was a girl walking by. And Eddie was like, "Damn, look at that ass, bro." And I was like, "Eddie, I bet your bitch ass wouldn't even talk to that girl, man." So Eddie's like, "Man, pull over, roll the window down. I'm gonna talk to that girl right now, right?" So we pull over. Eddie rolls the window down, you know, tries to spit game, right? Like a game, like just, "Hey, ma," you know. The girl turns around, looks at Eddie dead in the eyes, and says, like, "Eddie, what are you doing drinking? I'm gonna tell mom you're smoking weed." That girl was Eddie's sister, right? We made fun of Eddie so much that night till he almost cried, right? A little FYI, nothing to do with this story, but just a little FYI. Eddie is the name that I use when I tell embarrassing stories of things that happened to me, right? Pretend it happened to somebody else, right? Sure, that stupid shit Eddie did it. I'm sorry, man. Let's go into political material, right? You guys like political material? We'll see. We'll find out, right? So I happen to think that the Constitution is a great document, right? Great document. But like anything written in the 1700s, where no women or no people of color had any input in it, it might need an upgrade, right? Some ideas are outdated. That's all I think, right? Great document, might need an upgrade, right? That's all I think, right? But every time I mention this on Facebook, I always end up getting kicked out of the country, right? There'll always be one dude that comments like, "Dude, if you don't 100% agree with the Constitution, then get out, right? Like, go back where you came from. Get out, right?" And I began to wonder, like, is this like an American 21st century thing, right? Or is this like a human thing that's always been going on, right? Where there are people in medieval England that were like, if you don't 100% agree with the Magna Carta, then get out, right? Get out of England or in ancient Mesopotamia, right? Like, if you don't 100% agree with Hammurabi's code, then get out, right? Like, go to Crete, right? They're starting a civilization there in 1,000 years. Right? We believe in eye for an eye in this country, right? That's more of a historical joke, right? But this is my impression of an all-right dude on Facebook. All-right dude on Facebook, right? Yeah, man, you know me, man. All day, I'm just here owning the libs, right? Like the other day, I was arguing with this one dude, and I said, "Have you ever heard of Venezuela?" Boom! Owning the libs, right? Owning the libs. That was an all-right guy on Facebook. Thank you, those who like that. This is my impression of Steve Bannon, right? Steve Bannon, man. So we don't know who Steve Bannon is, don't worry, I'm never going to do this joke after tonight, so Can we just remember him for the next minute? My impression of Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon, when I was a kid, I used to hate people who buy me clothes for my birthday instead of toys. As an adult, I just hate Jews. Right? You don't know who Steve Bannon is. Anti-Semitic dude that used to work for the Trump administration. I like Jewish people though. Growing up, like Jewish people were my favorite comedians. I thought they were the best, right? And I would like to think that I know what my favorite Jewish comedians growing up would have said or would have done had they been in the Holocaust, right? Now, like I said earlier, I can't really do boys impressions, right? Because I'm gonna try for you guys. So this is my impression of Jerry Seinfeld. It'd be like, no one is camping. People are too tense to concentrate. Why do they call these concentration camps? What's the deal with Auschwitz food? And like Woody Allen would just be like hanging around, seeing which children are being left orphans so you can have sex with them when they grow up. Typical Woody Allen, right? I'm not anti-Jewish. I am anti-Nazi though. I hate Nazis and especially these new Nazis, right? White both of them. Anyways, I don't think that should be a controversial statement in this country, man. Like our grandparents fought a war against these people, right? Well, not my grandparents personally. My grandparents were in Mexico not doing shit against them. But like American people's grandparents, right? And I hate these, like, especially these neo-Nazis because, like, these are grown-ass adults that chose this ideology, right? Like these are, like, they weren't born Nazis, right? Like, these are people that grew up reading the same history we did, and they chose to become Nazis, right? They weren't born. It wasn't like the mother was in labor at the hospital, the dad was in the waiting room, the doctor came out, and then the dad was like, what is it, doctor? Is it a boy? Is it a girl? And the doctor's like, it's actually a Nazi. He was born with a little mustache and everything. Smacked them in the ass. He said, "Hail Hitler," right? I know, right? That's not what happened, right? These are grown-ass adults who literally looked at the most important war in world history and said, I want to be like the losers of that war, right? Like, I think they had something going on, man. Yeah. Let's talk about Trump now. Make some noise if you like Trump. Oh, good. That was good. I get the door back. I think you guys are not the same. I hate Donald Trump. I think most Mexicans hate Donald Trump, right? Is that true? Yeah. Contrary to popular belief, like, he did not win us over with a taco bowl, right? Like, that shit did not work, man. Matter of fact, when I saw that picture, I didn't even know what a taco bowl was, right? Like, I've been eating Mexican food my whole life, dude. I thought it was a football game, right? Like you got like the Super Bowl, the Pro Bowl, and Taco Bowl in Arizona, right? Chipotle plays Taco Bell or some shit, right? Like, it's a true story though, even though I do hate Donald Trump, I still did not vote for Hillary Clinton, and I'm gonna give you personally my 2 reasons. You can remove him from the I'm personally gonna give you my 2 reasons why I did not vote for Hillary Clinton, right? Reason number 1, I was a Bernie Sanders supporter, right? I believe what Bernie said, like that she was hawkish, that she was corporate bought, and that was the first reason that I didn't vote for Hillary Clinton. Now the second reason that I didn't vote for Hillary Clinton is, how do you say this? I can't legally vote. I'm not what the U.S. government calls a citizen. Maybe that first reason, right? That Bernie Sanders reason. I would have totally voted for her. Here's the thing about Donald Trump, man. Like, I feel like Donald Trump is so dumb, and he's such a machine for dumb ideas that every time he says something that's right, I start rethinking my position on that subject, right? Like the other day I heard him say that the Iraq War was the biggest mistake in American history. And I was like, oh shit, I think that shit, right? Like, I'm starting to think the Iraq War was a good idea, right? Here's the thing about the Iraq War though, every time I feel like somebody says that the Iraq War was like the biggest mistake in American history, I always feel like the Vietnam War's in the back just like, hey. Remember me? Make some noise for racist people though. Come on, one more time, racist people. Oh, okay. I tried twice. I went to Indiana to do this joke and they did it the first time, right? I like racist people, and I tell you why I like racist people because racist people are good at math, right? Some of the math is real complicated though. Like I don't really understand it, so they must be good, right? Like one time I was arguing with this guy on Facebook, and the subject was black people getting killed by the police. This was the subject, right? And he hit me with the, actually, more white people than black people get killed by the police in this country, right? And I told him, yeah, that's just because it's a white-ass country. There's way more white people than black people, but a black man's still several times more likely to get killed by the police. And he was like, yeah, but you gotta factor in the crime in black neighborhoods. Divide that by the gravity of Jupiter, right? Multiply it by the fact that I go bowling every Tuesday. And you will see that it's actually harder to be white in America, right? I'm doing the math, like shit. If you carry the one, that shit makes sense, right? I do think that like the police, like it varies by police department, right? Because like in Chicago growing up, I was like a nerdy kid, so like I was like 15, 16 years old, and I would like get pulled over all the time and search for no reason, right? And like I live in River Grove now, like the police there are nice, man. Like once they did pull me over for no reason. I was just walking to the store, but they bought me ice cream, right? So that worked out, right? They were nice about it, right? But it's the thing though, when I was growing up in Chicago, I heard this story. I don't know how true it is, but there's a rumor that was going on when I was growing up that, and the Cabrini Green projects, I don't know if you guys ever heard of the Cabrini Green projects, but they're not around anymore, it's a Target now, right? You could literally shop at where Candyman used to kill people, right? You say his name 3 times in the mirror section, you get a discount, right? There's a rumor that in the Cabrini Green projects in the 90s, like if people would call in about shootings, the police would intentionally show up late because 1, it was dangerous, and 2, like they didn't really care about the people living there, right? So I always like to imagine like someone like on a Sunday night in the Cabrini Green project just calling the police like, hey, there's a shooting outside the building here, and the police just being like, okay, let us know how it goes, right? We got an office pool and I got my money in the GD, right? The Bibles have been pretty good this season, though. We'll send someone over later on tonight, right? Maybe tomorrow, right? By Tuesday, someone should be in that general area, right? No matter, last thing I'll say about the cop shooting is, no matter what side you're on, I think most people agree that when they do these protests in the cities where this happens, people shouldn't be looting, people shouldn't be stealing, right? I don't know why though, right? Because like, I'm not saying that I'm in favor of looting innocent businesses, right? That's not what I'm saying. But if there was looting going on in my neighborhood, I might take some shit, right? Like, I ain't rich, man. I ain't above looting, man. Shit's expensive, right? Like, need a suit for a job interview I have next week, man. Suits are expensive, man. It's actually more of a court case than a job interview, right? It's more of a court case, right? That doesn't change the price of the suit, man. Suits are expensive, man. With that said, like, I'm not saying that I'm gonna walk to a Men's Warehouse and break the windows, right? That's not what I'm saying, man. I'm not saying that I'm gonna be the first guy to rob the place and run in there, right? That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying, though, is that there was looting going on in the Men's Warehouse already. And I happened to be walking by. I'm gonna walk in there, man. I'm gonna walk in there. When I walk out, I'm gonna like the way I look, man. I guarantee, man. That's what my Thank you guys for coming out, man. Like when I was earlier, man, we're working on this for like 5 years. I appreciate everybody that came out. I just want to say thank you to a few people, right? My parents are not here, but I want to thank my parents just because they haven't really done anything for me comedic-wise. But without their support, I wouldn't be able to do that. I want to thank my sisters are in the audience somewhere. I can't really see where they are. All my friends that ever came out to a show before, right? Most of my friends came out to see me when I started, and when you first start, you suck. So like, my friends don't come out to see me no more. And I'm like, dude, I'm much better now. They don't believe me. Other than that, man, I just want to mention a few people that passed away that were comedians. That I'm not gonna say they were my best friends, but they were colleagues. They were people I shared shows with. They were people that were pursuing the same dream that I'm pursuing. So I just want to dedicate this album to, like, rest in peace, Michael Shapiro, right? Rest in peace, Miss Nikki. Rest in peace,